As a starter, why don't we go ahead and do a sort of a roundtable introduction with all the folks on the call here, just to set the expectation when we introduce, because there's a lot of content that we're going to cover. The idea here is really we're trying to build a community around DFMA, designed for manufacturing and assembly. And the sole purpose and intended purpose here is, while we are coming from different professions together, really the seek is how do we optimize construction and cut costs, basically? How do we build affordable units, maybe for our own business venture, or affordable houses that we want to be able to address that market segment or go after the missing middle? How do we achieve that? And through the exercises I've met with most of you guys out here, you guys have expressed interest in being able to come together with your expertise and showcase your expertise and in return really achieve that goal and objective. How do you package this whole thing together? So this meeting or this community that we're attempting to build is really empowering everyone with that knowledge. Like, how do you end up building those missing middle at a very cost-effective manner? So I'll go around here as I see everybody on this conference here. Vishu, if you don't mind, just a very quick introduction, because there's so much of content that we're going to be covering here today. Vishu, if you don't mind doing a quick introduction about yourself, then Zach and Sumit and John, and we'll sort of go around the table here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sanjay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. If you don't mind, if it's okay, just a quick introduction. You don't have to be on camera all the time, but at least when you're introducing yourself, people can put a face to the name. That would be great, Vishu, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And it's not mandatory, just a request.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So go ahead, Vishu.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Vishu, and I am working as a structural designer from past 10 years. And my core is basically the structural steel. And I've been in this field for 10 years, as I mentioned, and internationally, it's almost 8 years. And 2 years I spent in India with learning, designing, and I worked with engineers and coordinate with the clients. So yeah, that's all about me.
Okay, thank you so much, Vishu. Zach, your introduction, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Zach Mazurek from Toronto, joining from Toronto today, and my background's in mechanical engineering. I've worked mostly in manufacturing, and what some of the key experience to the subject today, it would be in medical device development and manufacturing, and ramping up production of a very sophisticated mobile life support system during COVID. So that's some of the manufacturing background, but these days I'm doing all kinds of things with my own business, including I'm doing an architectural design project right now for a cottage in Gravenhurst. I've designed HVAC and plumbing for a prefab home company last year. And yeah, that's so I have my own ideas of how to I like this subject of housing. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for us to do a positive to make a positive contribution and to do business, I guess. So like happy to be here and talking about this.
Thank you, Zach. Sumit.
Hi all, my name is Sumit. I'm a structural engineer. I'm a professional structural engineer in Ontario. I have like over 7 years of experience in Canada in the structural engineering field, mainly residential, commercial. Now I'm working mainly on the industrial side in my company, but I have very profound experience in cold form steel design, cold form wall panels, floor system, joist system, those kind of particular element design. So I'm here. I'm also excited about the residential modular systems. Never work on, but I have a conceptual knowledge and a learning from my experience. Yeah, that's.
Okay. Thank you, Sumit. John?
Excuse me. My name is John Toomey. I'm the lead design project manager for Skyhook Modular Architecture. For the last 8 years, we've worked as the in-house architect and design firm for Z Modular Canada. Z Modular is a large and successful builder of purpose-built rental buildings with plants in Texas, Arizona, Alabama, and until very recently, Kitchener, Ontario. They've left the market because it's expensive in Ontario. This is a problem. But they continue to build in those states that I've just mentioned. Currently, we've got a major project in Tecumseh, Ontario, which is like Windsor, for 2 towers, 166 suites each, 6 stories each, a total of 332 suites. It's going to be pretty fabulous. We finished setting the first building. We're about to start setting the second in March when it's a little bit warm. And we've taken on a number of other clients. And we spoke to Sanjay a week or two ago. We are very concerned about the missing middle. We are looking at a number of projects for medium density, soft density projects of 4 plexes, 8 plexes, things like that. 3-story buildings that we can get away with no elevators. And so anyway, so we're true believers. We're busy. We'd love to learn more. So thank you, Sanjay, for pulling this together.
Yeah, thanks, John. I have Kopala. Kopala, you want to go next?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Appara Kopala. I'm from India. Currently, I'm working in India. I have around 22 plus years of experience in structural designing and detailing. I worked in UAE and Qatar in the Gulf for around 15 years, and I worked in India also. I'm working currently in India. I worked for projects around the world. Like I worked for projects in US and Gulf and in India. My core specialty is in pre-engineered steel building, designing and detailing as per American code and British and Indian codes. So since last 22 years, I'm doing the same, like pre-engineered building, steel designing, detailing, and everything. But especially for last 4 years, I'm working in volumetric modular steel buildings, designing and detailing, and component designing and everything. So volumetric modular structural designing is a very interesting design actually when we compare to other conventional steel type of designs, because it is a very cost effective and offsite construction also very impressive in this one. It can save a lot of time and economically it is cheaper, could be cheaper also. So I'm contributing my skills and experience in volumetric modular steel structure for last 4 years. I'm happy to share my thoughts and ideas about volumetric buildings, modular structures in this meeting. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Jega, do you mind turning on your camera if it's okay with you? I think you're on mute, Jega. Maybe he's on mute. We're not able to hear you, Jega. If not, we can move to the next. We'll come back to you, Jega. Prahari, do you want to, or maybe he's just joining us from.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Prahari. Yeah, go ahead, Prahari.
Hi, Sanjay. Sorry, I think my video is not working at the moment.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks for organizing this. And I'm Prairie Patel. I'm an architecture professional specializing in modular architecture, commercial. I've worked previously at companies like Z Modular, AECOM, and currently with UnityWall. I provide technical and design leadership at the moment to help team navigate BIM workflows, modular constraints, and design for manufacturer strategies, and leading that into design intent and fabrication realities.
Okay.
And
Hi, Prairie.
it's good to see John Toomey.
Hi, good to see you.
Yes, it's lovely to meet you after so long.
It's a small community. Great to
Hi, Brady.
I wish you. Oh my
A
God.
small world, eh?
indeed.
I love this. Yes, it's a small world indeed. And this is what I love about our field and industry as well, that, you get to it's like a roundabout. You meet people you would never imagine. And of course, I'm looking forward to working together again.
Okay, fantastic. We just had Ken join in. If you want to introduce yourself, or if I've missed somebody. I think Jega is back here. Jega, are you able to speak, or
yeah, sorry, I just got disconnected.
Okay.
Sorry, my name is Jagatan. I'm joining from Canada. I've been a product designer for over 25 years. I'm directly with manufacturing companies, and we have our own company as a consulting for manufacturing. So we strictly on metal manufacturing, detailing, and consulting. So we have put together some stuff for this project, but down the road we will share everything together with everyone. Thank you, guys. Nice meeting everyone.
Thank you, Jega. Anybody else? I think Ken. I see somebody called Ken joined, or have I missed anybody else here? Please, if I've missed anyone, Sumit is done. Probably Ken. Who's Ken?
I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. I'm a friend of Sanjay's.
Oh, yes. Ken, welcome, Ken. Ken, do you mind coming on the camera? You're going to be a critical part of this a live example, if you will. There we have you. Ken, please go ahead and introduce yourself. I think it will put a lot of shape to what we all are talking about, missing middle. If you don't mind going into a little bit depth of what we've been talking about, Calgary and things like that, I think all the audience here will be very excited to hear what we're thinking about. But go ahead, Ken.
Ken Dodds, up in Edmonton, Alberta. I guess looking at developing some of the missing middle housing that the city's looking for. Edmonton, Calgary are growing quite quickly, and I guess the government is looking at somewhat affordable housing and things like that. So Sanjay and I've been talking about building and using creative methods and stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now, is learning more and hopefully making things progress further.
Yeah. Just to add to Ken's context, Ken and myself met from an investor community, and as I speak and I try to bring more folks on the call. Sorry, go ahead, Ken. You had something to say?
No, please proceed.
As I proceed further and bring all the other different community members together, my intention is really to bring the investor community together on what we're doing, being able to educate them. And Ken, already, if you don't mind, I can share a little bit more detailed background of what we're attempting to do. Ken has already got a land. Do you want to give a little bit status about that 8 unit that you and I are discussing, and what our thoughts are, and how we're looking to prototype this, and almost our vision of recording these almost do a live show, if you will, let the other folks also learn from our journey. So this is that beginning. Ken, do you want to share what we've been talking about of how we're thinking of executing DFMA here in Ontario, maybe looking at global supply chain, and then utilizing your project as an example, Ken?
Well, I guess looking at prototyping, a development process, sourcing materials perhaps offshore where possible to reduce costs, looking at affordable options as opposed to maybe some of the more expensive conventional things that people are doing right now. So I currently have a vacant lot in Edmonton. It's 70 feet by 150 feet. We're looking at building an 8-plex on it, and hopefully using that model to continue on with other lots and cooperating with other developers as well.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Ken. So just to set the context moving forward, looks like we've covered pretty much everybody. If I have not, please do raise your hand or chime in. And I'll get into the webinar here. As we're discussing about DFMA, I'm going to pull up a slide. I feel that this slide is moving forward is going to be like almost the holy grail. And I know, sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. My introduction, my background is I've been working in the tech world for last 2 decades with Salesforce, advising Fortune 500 companies, how to scale their digital footprint, if you will. And through that process, living in Silicon Valley, I was also doing a lot of real estate development, purchasing homes, raised $3 million, bought 30 homes in Michigan, fix and flip them on my cell phone. And when I did that, I had a moment of epiphany, being a tech nerd, of saying, how do we productize an approach of building homes so that we can scale this thing? So that since the last 10 years, I fell in love with the whole modular ideation when I saw Z Modular popping these babies one top of each other and, raising 140 units in 2-3 months. And I said, oh my God, let me, this is it. This is like the virtual reality and the physical reality. If we were to kind of bring it together, what would that world look like? So hence started my passionate journey of building these, ideating on how to build homes almost like a component, like a Lego piece. And the outcome to that has been very fabulous. The entire journey has been, we've actually invested almost close to about $250,000 behind engineering and designing. And I call this model like the Dark Knight. And I'm about to share this. Let me share the screen with you of what we ended up sort of the outcome that came out of the exercise here. So are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So what came out of it is this, the 3-story or 2-story, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and 1.5 kitchen. And this was built for more like a California kind of a weather, keeping Sunset Boulevard in mind and Beverly Hills. And we went through about 85 iterations to come up with this look and feel. But there's a lot of behind the beauty. There's a lot of brains, if you will, a lot of understanding the technicalities of how do you build buildings that are not just like boxy looking, but also very attractive, and at the same time are easy to be able to install, to be able to build, and componentize, if you will. And I'll get into some of the virtual reality that I will share in a quick moment. So this is built out of 6 mods, and each mod is like a mod A, mod B, and mod C, D, E, F. The bottom mods, the 2 mods here on the right hand side, it's a 9x11 and a 9x11. They're a duplicate on top here, like a 9x11 and a 9x11. And the reason this was built this way was because we built it in such a way so that we can duplicate it and use a lot of those concepts. You guys may have already heard of verbages like DFMA, panelization, modular, and then modular integrated construction. So those principles, how do they sort of apply? And hence we kind of started with a smaller prototype, like a crawl, walk, and run. And really in this community, what we're attempting to do, rather than go big and go crazy and talk about 200 units, we want to be able to model 2 boxes and use all the different principles from a DFMA componentization perspective, and really iron out all the bugs from a training perspective, and seeing how those components get approved according to Ontario standard. And then also for Calgary, as Ken is sort of involved in this project, that's the entire idea. I think somebody is wanting to get, is this wanting admin all? Okay. So coming back to this this model that we're using here as an example, we've been wanting to drill down and identify some candidates of which are those components that can be duplicatable out here. But before I jump into the actual component, I want to be able to share with the team here what is my idea and thinking of DFMA basically, and how are we going to utilize this? So as you guys can see the screen, I'm going to refer to this screen over and over again because there's a lot of thought process behind this entire orchestration, if you will. So I'll start from the left to the right, from the concept to the construction here. The ideation is like, when you look at a land lot, like the missing middle, right? You look at a single family. How do you identify an opportunity on a single family and say that this land or this single family can be maximized to 8 units or 6 units or 4 units? How do you do that? How do you empower an investor to give them an entire package right from the birth of generated design and optimization? Look at a land and take it to that 8-unit level and give them a package to make that educated decision. How do you do that? And how do you apply the DFMA principle? So I really start off by this left-hand generative design. I'm in conversation with the CEO called LandLogic, and I'm happy to share the website of this company. They're doing something very interesting. You can basically use LandLogic. LandLogic. I don't know if you guys have heard. Yeah, LandLogic.ai. Okay, it's .ai. You can use LandLogic to be able to literally look at a lot and completely see what are the permutation and combination, and all the logic is already applied by density and setbacks and how many units can you do using AI. So I'm a big advocate of technology and AI, doing a lot of AI. I own an AI company myself. So applying these principles, because one of the things that I notice in this industry, you go and ask a quote to somebody, hey, I want to build a lot. I want to be able to do this. And Ken can kind of attest to it. It takes ages by the time they figure out how much money do they have to put in, what can be built out here, is there an opportunity or not? There's so much of soft cost money goes into the making. How do we reduce all that noise and empower an investor of saying, yes, I think I'm going to invest on this particular opportunity and I'm going to buy this land? And and in effect to that, what I've also done is I've actually gone and teamed up with a real estate company, and we're going to have a lot of these partnerships come in. And starting Monday, I will be getting deal flows in certain regions, right from regions of what you may call Hamilton till Niagara, getting me deal flows that are single family properties that are undervalued, that are maybe pocket listing or off market. I'm going to be getting that, and I'll share that with the community. And if you've got investors, or if you've got some people that might be interested in becoming like an owner, builder, operator, and joining us as a community, share those deal flows with them. I'll be getting those deal flows. So we're not going to have any challenge of finding deals, what I'm getting at. And then using these type of generative analysis and packages and showcasing to those investors, hey, you can build an 8-unit. This is the money you're going to make. This is what it's going to cost. I'm going to pause here before I start going more and more detail into it, because I'm going to invite other folks also based on your expertise to be able to talk when I get into the detail of the DFMA. But if you guys can give me a thumbs up, is this sort of all making sense? Is it something that I can tailor this webinar to a more restrictive conversation? So I'm going to pause the screen for a quick share and take the temperature of all the team members here on the call. Any ideas, suggestion that my next steps would be, I'll finish off with that DFMA slide and then invite different experts on this call to be able to chime in of what I know about their expertise. Any thoughts so far, guys? John, please go ahead.
Yeah, I presume that you're looking at real estate land that has been designated as of right by the municipalities to
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
so that whole matter of zoning has been resolved. We would like to push governments to pre-approve modular design, so we don't have to go through rigmarole with the building departments of these towns. So it's all a matter of changing the regulatory environment. That's a critical step, right? To
Absolutely, yes, spot on that.
feed these things through.
Yes. Very good observation. And since you brought up, the by right, as of right, just folks that are on the call that might not be looking at as of right, zoning becomes a real uphill battle. We want to have a more straight path where we can build our components and quickly develop this and bring it to reality, not just be folks that are doing all this R&D stuff and it's not coming to surface in reality. So that's a critical part that John has pointed out, as of right. So the deal flows that I'm talking to, by the way, I have partnered up with this real estate company that has sends out a newsletter to 158,000 potential investors or people that are active in this space. So they understand investments really well. Because when you are dealing with real estate companies, different realtors or real estate companies, they need to understand the mindset of an investor, so that we can produce more products. It's super critical to build this community around investment community, because us alone trying to ideate and come up with all this, we could do all the possible crazy things that we can fantasize, but if there's no investment flow coming in, there's no deal flows coming in, this is only going to become an R&D and people might end up losing interest. So my goal is to invite, like Ken is here on the call, and we're talking about a live project and putting pieces of the puzzle. We want to be able to bring more investors, as me and Ken have discussed. Once we really prototype Ken's project, like to the pins and needles, and really show him of how we can cut costs in Calgary. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the investment mindset, if you will. building 8 plexes in Calgary, some of the advantages, or Edmonton, where Ken is, the advantages is you can get you can build that same 8 units in Edmonton for 2 million, which would cost you maybe 3 or 3.5 million in Toronto. And the other thing is, cash on cash return. When you build that missing middle in Calgary, it comes out to be a lot more positive because of how much you've invested, cash on cash return. Not only that, they're a very investor friendly area. I don't know what the laws are in Ontario. If somebody comes inside as a squatter in your building or apartment, it's going to be very hard to get them out of your apartment unit compared to Calgary. I almost think of Calgary like a Texas investor friendly kind of an environment. Would that be an accurate assessment, Ken? I think probably he's on mute or something. But John, do you think that sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with Sanjay. Certainly some great opportunities here in Alberta, and a great place to kick off an initiative like this.
Absolutely.
And okay, may I just also add to our second John's point about the importance of zoning, or as of right property. But there's an exciting development in Toronto in last year with the how 6 plexes have been allowed in certain areas of the city. It's not citywide yet, but that's like a new opportunity. And then also on the regulatory side, also last year, the CMHC releasing their housing catalog of standardized designs, which allows for which addresses some of the issue with you've got your property's got to be, you got to be able to put it on the property. That's the zoning, and then your design has to get through the building office. So I guess modular, it's nice. Like if Sanjay has his design, gets approved once, then the building office, I guess, has experience with it. And I think maybe in the future, if you want to build more, then modular,
Right.
will be lend to that. But the 6 plexes are supposed to zip through the approval process. Also, that was one of the
Sure. Unfortunately, Zach, the CMHC's national catalog does not include modular homes.
Oh yeah, it's
stick built, right. So I asked them about it at a convention last year, and they gave me a song and dance. I said, "Dude, you're at a modular convention, and you can't give us a straight answer." So we'll see. But that's essential.
Yeah, that's great. This is great conversation that's sort of surfacing, John and Zach. Modular is not permitted in that whole CMHC or the missing middle, and hence, we're coming in as this mind share. What's the best path to optimization and cutting cost? Then we lean more towards panelization, and within panelization, if something's going wrong there, how do we componentize? And hence, I'm going to go back to the slide here of the DFMA. I believe, having interviewed so many folks around the world, I literally interviewed about 800 architects in the world for the last 10 years. And asked them different questions and approaches. I even helped somebody from Calgary. She came to California, and as you know, California always goes on fire. There was a city called Paradise, and I helped her set up, guide her of setting up a factory, a SIP factory in Paradise. Lo and behold, she put up $1 million, and after $1 million, did 100 homes. And she quit. She said there's no money, and she couldn't optimize, right? So saw the highs and lows of doing SIP factories. Then went to Hyundai CEO and looked at 3D printing. There's so much of noise about 3D printing, right? How do you use 3D printing? And I know there's a company out of Texas that's doing that, but again, a lot of noise because it's only addressing like the shell, the envelope, which you can easily use through panelization, right? So how do you use just only panelization power to be able to cut costs and do like just in time, arrive just in time, cut cost on labor, cut cost on different components, and have them approved at the same time, right? How do you get to that holy grail? And having gone through all this R&D, I think that the secret code lies in DFMA, which is designed for manufacturing assembly. And DFMA, in my mind, is not just only like a few components, like, you know, you have a wall panel, like a full wall with a window panel, right? You got a roof truss. Yeah, those are great components. But I think this entire life cycle that's being demonstrated, bearing this in mind, this is almost like writing a software product, basically. This is how we do, you know, analysis, design, construction, testing. This is a life cycle for software development out here. So how do we take that framework and apply it in the DFMA? As I just shared an example of generative design, right? Once you come to this level and you can give an investor a package of saying you can build 6 units and this is your cash on cash return, that is, and quick, not like, you know, make the investor spend about $30,000-$50,000 and then to find out that's not going to work out. I mean, nobody's going to want to risk $30,000-$50,000 to get that answer with certainty, and by zone, like you said. So what the deal flows, which I told the real estate investment, they've got about 80 realtors. What I told them, give me in Hamilton a specific zone that I want 8 units, not 6 units. I think 6 units by right, you have a lot of opportunity in Hamilton. If you go into Toronto area, you could do 8 units by right in certain areas. Some cities approved, some cities have not. I know Islington, and there are a couple other cities that have gone up to 8 units. And the reason why I'm going after that 8 units, because I'm always looking at the wallet of the investor. I'm always looking at the lens of an investor. Why are they going to want to work with us, even though we have all this fantastic approach? Bottom line, they're going to say cash on cash return. Why do I go with you? Yeah, I've heard about modular, I've heard about panelization, but it doesn't pencil, basically, right? And us being really passionate about this space, we want to be able to showcase, hey, we come to the finish line sooner, faster, better. Imagine the holding costs, because I think in the modular or prefab, people have still not been able to crack the code of coming, at least besides the holding, you know, coming faster. Yeah, those are great things to the finish line. But really, if you compare apples to apples, if I'm gonna build this box through a wood in a traditional construction, can I beat that cost? Because I have taken care at every step of the way, all the nuances where the ball is going to get dropped, and I've squeezed the juice out of each and every step of the way, and given that investor that pleasant experience right from he looks at a land lot to this erection and assembly. We've held their hand and really closed the loop out here. This achievement of hand-holding the investor from birth to handing over the keys in this discrete DFMA manner, I believe is super critical. I'm going to pause here because I'd like this to be a more community. I don't want only my ideas to be kind of entrusted. So I'm going to pause here and invite some thoughts of what people are thinking about DFMA or what are their points of view here. Folks, I'd like to see your point of view of what we're talking about DFMA. I know, John, you've done a lot of this componentization. You're working with some companies that are already doing this componentization. What are your thoughts of what we're sharing and what we're trying to do? Are we headed in the right direction?
Totally. I mean, look, I think I think modular fabrication by its very nature is DFMA, right? So, and Prairie can attest, we would have 70 pages of details for a chassis, for a kitted out chassis. And, and Prairie, remind me, were you a SolidWorks designer? What platform were you working with?
No, I was a Revit designer.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
all of our drawings, are architectural drawings, are in Revit. But with SolidWorks, we would produce LOD 400. I mean, everything was about how to make it simple for the shop. And I think we kind of solved that problem a couple years ago. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. So even right now at the moment at Uniwall as well, DFMA kind of works really well between, like John and Toomey said, between SolidWorks and Revit. And that's what we do here at Uniwall as well. Create these DFMA files in SolidWorks and transfer it to Revit because they're both Autodesk environment. And it works really well together. And, you can see like the problems, the contradiction between the structural aspect and the architectural aspect. And then you can inform, and that kind of communication works really well for DFMA.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that input. Anybody else has got any suggestions on the DFMA as I continue on this journey with the presentation? If not, I'll just sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I'm happy to share some thoughts on DFMA. I haven't brushed up on my DFMA reading in a while, but I have a few points jotted down from my experience, which were that, so DFMA, it's I learned in school and I've seen in practice, it's 80% product design and it's only like 20% in the assembly process. What happens after you've got the product. So it's really got to be baked into your product design. Like, for example, by minimizing the number of parts so that, you're only, putting together 3 parts in the factory or in the field instead of, 100 parts. But there's a trade-off, obviously, with cost and manufacturability. You got to strike the right balance for your project. But where you want to reduce costs, as we're talking about aggressively keeping the costs down here. A major print or part of that is using off-the-shelf parts or standardized parts rather than custom parts. So yeah. So but also another really important thing from my personal experience of ramping up that medical device production during COVID, I forget if I said that, but we did that really quickly, was having your product design verified and validated, like doing an engineering build before jumping into production. And because everybody wants everything faster, but there's a lot of value in starting with building one very carefully and having your designers engage with that process, see how things go, and making adjustments to either your testing or your assembly processes or to your parts design if necessary. And then just one more point, I guess on DFMA is de-skilling the assembly process. That's just another thing. I've written a lot of assembly and testing documentation, and so that's I guess an important consideration that's I guess one of the goals here of to keep the cost of the product down and make it and have it easy to assemble. I mean, having the quality documentation for that's also tested, verified, is another important thing. So I'll just and economies of scale too. That's my really final point there is there's a few economies of scale are relevant in a few areas here, but my understanding from watching the agenda with Steve Pakin, from our TV Ontario broadcaster, was that prefab hasn't been economical yet. And one expert on the panel said it's not going to be economical until we start doing higher volumes through some of these plants. And so so higher volume purchasing of materials, and I guess utilizing that design and process that you've developed, that's important to reducing the cost too. So
yeah, Zach, you bring up a extremely important point, and I'm gonna try and bring the community to that more entrepreneurial thinking mindset, if you will. My goal, people that travel on this journey along with me, I want to see them participate in owner, builder, operator mindset, if you will. How do I get 10 units? How do I become a part of an equity holder of an owner, builder, operator of 5 units from now, or 10 units from now, or 20 units from now? So this ideation of it's not going to be penciling out. And I was talking to another guy, Julian's partner at Blair, and he said that the only way for it to pencil, rather than just selling your services or selling a mod or selling a component, the win strategies where you're controlling the entire narrative. So I think that this knowledge and this education, I will go back to that investment mindset, if you will. How do you put an investment package together where you can squeeze the cost and you see the upside ticking, and you become a part of that private equity or joint venture in whatever shape and form, and maybe lend your services initially from this whole 360-degree ideation, if you will, pull different team members together and say, hey, we can pull this off in a much more structured manner, and we'll find you the deal. We're going and finding you the deal. We're actually showing you the package. We're hand-holding you through the construction costs, and maybe we can be a part of the equity, if you will, upon the exit. So I think that that's where that window of opportunity might lie for us. We're all here on a Saturday. We're all professional people. We're putting in our time. At the end of the day, everybody questions, okay, why am I coming on this webinar? What am I getting out of it? Sure, I might get some knowledge and some cool ideas about within my profession. But I think there's a bigger picture to be had here, is how do you master this entire journey? And that's what I'm looking to kind of lean on. John and Ken, I know you guys have a lot of experience from a different perspective, but I'd let Ken chime in on this vision and this community that we're trying to build. What are your thoughts, Ken, on this approach here that we're trying to do here?
Well, I mean, I certainly think it's the way things are going to progress in the future is with a heavily engineered development approach. If you want to get the economy of scale, and I agree with Zach that it's how do you put it? I guess as things modernize and we approach things like that, it's only going to get reduced costs, quicker construction, and a faster product put out in the field.
Yeah. And keeping that investment opportunity in mind, that how do we become a part of that journey? And that's something that I will bring some investors, I'll bring some attorneys on this community to package it. Like, how do you create joint ventures? And that's what I did in the States also, that it's not necessarily that you have to come up with the money, and that's why people have become millionaires in real estate. How does everybody apply their skill sets and still be a part of that equity, if you will, in that journey? And what is the skill sets that you're bringing to the table is my hope and goal that everyone will be drawn towards, basically. John, any thoughts? I know you guys are heavy into the modular componentization, but I'm coming more from that owner, builder, operator type of a mindset here. John, what is your thought?
Sure. Well, Right. So I'm not a businessman. I'm on the design side, but the formation of REITs, the accumulation of capital, the establishment of a baseline of work to go through a shop floor to keep the factory open. These are all necessary, right? So, yeah, it's like you got to keep the plant moving. You got a burn rate of $75,000 a week, kind of thing. So that's where government comes in. That's where Build Canada Homes and local municipalities have got to start contributing to these things. It was never going to work, right? It's just,
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort for sure.
well, we gotta loosen up all sorts of regulatory. CMHC won't insure projects under 5 units. No, maybe it has to be 5. So yeah, 4 units, like a fourplex doesn't count, right? Well,
Yeah.
5's not a great number for modular on a infill. So these things have to be sorted out. But what do we need? We need the banks, the financial institutions to change the way they think. CMHC, believe it or not, has to change the way it approaches modular infill. As I mentioned earlier, getting a catalog of approved modular designs would be fantastic. So you've got an approved design. You don't need the building department to pour over it. You've got as of right, so there's no zoning issues. You're still going to have neighbors to deal with, believe it or not. NIMBYs don't go away just because there's as of right. But you got to tackle a number of big issues for us to approach an automotive scale rollout of modular buildings.
Yeah. Again, I want to sort of come back our approach, and depending on how we find the opportunity, like going back to Ken's project, right? It's not necessarily just modular. It could be prefab, or it could be a combination of componentization, doing a bathroom pod and a kitchen pod offsite, and then panelizing, and which I'll get into. I guess the next session we'll start diving into where Kopala he's going to talk about the structure itself that he's prepared. I'll let him sort of jump in, and what we're looking to do is standardize some of the components that we can use in context of faster build, if you will. So I'd like Kopala sort of jump in and share what he's been working on so far. And a lot of you guys might already be familiar, but certainly I will invite some of the engineers also that can stamp these structurally. But Kopala, do you want to go ahead and share that we've been working and ideating on that moment frame and that box with the team, please? I think you're on mute, Kopala. Do you want to?
I'm sorry, actually. Sure, I will show the basic design that I have done for this the sample project, sir.
Yeah.
And also I will show some of my previous companies, previous projects, what I have done for the modular structures. I will just share my screen. Yes, sir. Are you able to see my screen, sir?
No, not yet. Yeah, it's coming up. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, Kopala.
Yes. Yes, sir. This is the model that I have prepared. So it's in a very basic shape only, but still I have worked on connections and the box frame, that movement frame, how the skeleton of the structure can be done. This is having around 4 modules in the bottom and 2 modules in the top. This is already prepared to make the LGS structure inside it, so that we can prepare put LGS studs and all, and then we can finalize the design. So all together, if we combine, it will look something like this. So all 4 modes, 6 modes are separated. It can be shipped separately to the site with the all finishing like floor finishes and ceilings and interior everything. You can combine install everything in the factory and then we can ship it to the site. So each module can be connected to other modules at the site using small simple connections and all. I'll show some sample connections how it will be connected in the site. We have a bolted connection at the corners so that it can be done, fixing can be done even in the site also or even in the factory also. So module box contains one base frame at the bottom with the 4 C channels and one ceiling frame in the top. This is going to be the ceiling frame. The top 4 C channels are going to be the ceiling frame. This will support the ceiling members and floor joists also it can support. And of course, we have the studs and the 4 sides of the module. This can be very light gauge, and 18 or 20 gauge, something even lesser also we can use as per the design. So the studs can be spaced at every 2 feet spacing. Depending upon the requirement, we can place studs or we can leave it open when we have a combined, the axis between the module to module in the final, the building. All 4 sides we can place the studs, and it can be easily connected to the C channel using the screws and all. And once the module is done, once we ship it to the site after fixing the ceilings and walls, panels, and interior, everything, we can connect module to module easily by placing one module on top of another with a simple connections only. Before that, I just wanted to highlight that for the lifting purpose, we can use the same connection using the lifting shackles and all, lifting lug and all. All 4 corners we can place this, the lifting tool, lifting lug, so that we can lift it easily. And design can be done using the dynamic factor of 25% extra, 50% extra, depending upon the codal requirement. And we can design the lifting, this lug and all, and we can get it certified also from the lifting engineers, the same. So when lifting the module to any number of floors, it doesn't going to be create any issue because it's already designed for the dynamic loads and all. So after placing it to the side, the first module, the second module can be placed on top of it easily using the lifting lugs, and it can be connected easily to the bottom, bottom module using this same connection. This is the same connection. It can be fitted with the 4 bolts, or even we can redesign with the lesser bolts also. So it doesn't take much time. It will take less than an hour to fix the bolts and all on the four corners. All 4 corners will be connected to each other. And we can maintain a gap between the module to module for the deflection. When the floor is deflected, we will give some allowances so that it will not touch the ceiling frame of the bottom module. We can give the gap, and we can optimize the number in all the member sizes. And when we connect the module to module side by side, that also we can, in that situation also we can give some kind of connections and all like this. Between the module to module, we have 2 module C channels. They're connected in the site, but we can use some small plates and all, shear plates and some kind of plate, loose plates to connect both module together at every 2 feet or 1 feet or even more 3 feet distance also, depending upon the design and all. So that when all modules are connected in the site, it will act as a one building to take the loads, wind loads, seismic loads, and everything. And it's optional, it's not mandatory to have the side-by-side connection, depending upon the design. We can do this one also. This is a sample module, sir. And also I will show the detailed connections from my previous designs that I have worked. This is the one, a small warehouse that I have done in the Qatar, in the Gulf. This is around 150 meter length and 30 meter width. It's a warehouse, but it is office kind of warehouse, G+1. It's a combination of module and site construction. The first floor is a site construction panel, and the ground floor will be the volumetric modular structure. So we have used combined design here. So half will be done in the factory, half will be done in the site. So we have calculated all the wind loads and everything using the robot structural analysis program. Wind loads, dead load, live load, and everything. I will just show what are the loads that we have considered. The grades, normal grades only we can use. High grade like grade 50 we can use. So it doesn't require to be very high grade. Even grade 43 also we can use 275. The yield strength, 250 yield strength also we can use.
Yeah. So Kopala, this is a great presentation. Before we get into more of the technicality of structural, I'd like to, because there are a lot of experts here on this call, I'm going to invite some comments here because the intent here is really, we're talking about how do you build a cost-efficient and optimized connection, kit apart, if you will, not necessarily just modular, but kit apart where you can literally assemble even the structural framework on site, if you will. So I'd like to invite some questions, and you can keep the model up, Kopala, and maybe anybody that has questions to be able to ask that can help us design a more effective connection, if you will, because I think the secret sauce is in the connection here. John, any thoughts on, you guys are already doing quite a bit here. Any thoughts on the connection side?
No, connection's critical. Yeah, absolutely. We're always in search for the next best thing, right? So we've got a couple choices in the market now. It would be prudent always to have alternatives in case of supply chain snafus and so on. So yeah, we're always keeping an eye out for something that is affordable in our market. And we're really interested now in light gauge steel and cold form and so on.
So do you have questions about the connections that
No,
Kopala?
look, I do. I know my limitations, and I'll let our structural folks deal with these matters. Right?
Got it. I have Sumit, who's a professional engineer who actually stamps these as an approval. Sumit, do you mind chiming in of the connections that Kopala is showing? Any thoughts here? What would be the challenge to get this approved, basically?
Connection wise, I need to check the calculation first. So like connection wise, it looks good for me. I have a question with the Kopala about the diaphragm continuity and how the diaphragm load is transferred between the connections, so we can have a proper lateral load path in this system. So like I never work with like prefab steel moment frames where we make a connection of the one module above the second one. But like I want to know like how the diaphragm continuity of the one floor level will be transferred in this connection.
Yes, sir. Actually, diaphragm is a different concept also. But while we are designing this project, diaphragm we did not consider, because we have done all the model in finite element modeling only. I will show you the structure actually here. We put everything in the robot structural analysis model, and then we connected all the joints using a small plates and all, like a release connections and all. Since the module is a box frame, other nearby module also box frame, we're connecting full module to another module using side-by-side connections, like what we have seen here. Yeah, like this. So diaphragm can be achieved because using this small plates and all, because it's not separated. These four C channels are connected together. Like it will form a rigid base, and nearby the C channels also rigid base only. So they were connected together using the small plates and all here, and even the corners also we have connections here. I will show that connection.
What are the floor system here, like the joist and the deck on it, or the plywood?
Yeah, joist and like cement board system.
Cement board system. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not sure
Yeah.
about how the Saudi code or like the Dubai code works. Like
It's
I'm sure that
Qatar
following
code, sir.
CI, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Qatar. Yeah,
AIFC?
Qatar code only.
AIFC?
Yeah, but design. Yeah, ASC design only, and wind loads, wind speed as per the local condition, but wind analysis also done as per the American code only. ASC.
I think we can more redefine and do the more localized calculation for the in terms of the
Canada.
Canadian code, because of the
Sure, that is
because
possible.
in Canadian code all lateral loads, if you are not considering, wind much needs to transfer to the diaphragm code, and the collector should be designed to take that diaphragm floor load, and then it will transfer to the lateral resisting system. So
yeah, sure, that we can design. That's not a problem.
yeah,
So
we can. I guess it's a cool project, and I can prepare one sample calculation for maybe Toronto or maybe another location, just to.
Yeah, that is
Hamilton, like which we are talking about in Hamilton. I have done not this kind of project, but I have done a project where we use the cold form steel panels, and do the panelized work of the modular system instead of the 3D module. The 2D.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, the 2D module design. Yeah.
That's very
that is actually widely used, very widely used, and
yeah, it's widely used, and it's
economical.
actually good for a transportation sometimes, because sometimes the site has its own limitation in 3D modules because of the transportation. But I'm not that much experienced in 3D modules. Yeah.
That's a great.
Actually,
Go ahead, guys. Yeah.
That's great.
That's a great call out from a panelization perspective, and how you can orchestrate all those connections, and not necessarily volumetric. People call it volumetric, if you will, right? Creating designs that are panelized, and then it lends itself to more of the DFMA in a true sense, rather than just monolithic volumetric, right? I know that Vishu, you've done a lot of volumetric type of thing. What are your thoughts? Any questions that you have of what Kopala and Sumit are talking here, Vishu?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Very great design, Kopala, and thank you all for the fruitful conversation. Like, really appreciate it for your thoughts. My question right now, I've been working with the modular for past 3 years, and I have a couple of questions. Like, at the initial stage, since it is at the initial stage, my question will be like, I'm not clear, how are we going to do element by element, like paneling by paneling, or we are going to ship the whole thing together? So all the connections and the structural connections and load transfer, everything will be depending on how we are going to assemble it. Will it be a prefab factory built, or will it be like element by element, like the walls and the flooring system by flooring system? Having that clear, because the design looks great, but if we know like how our initial thought will be to proceed with the modular, for example, like we gonna ship the whole wall or the whole floor piece by piece, because if we are shipping the whole thing, then we need to consider like so many factors into it. I see some connections which are done at the corner. So it's great, looks great, but when we are joining the two modules together, so interior connections that has to be done should be without damaging what we have already achieved at the site. So can be done externally, or we have to rip off some floor system and then go through inside of the module to make the connections. So we will have to consider that as well. And since the modular connection is done sideways as well, so how we are going to achieve that on site? So that's another question for me. Right now, that's what I'm considering, and there is an alignment thing I am thinking of right now after um, mm, taking that lug off. So how we are going to align our modules, that's another thing. So Coppola, do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure, I will share actually. Actually, there are different ways, doing the modular structure. Some people do like paneling, that's that's where the basic, LGS system has started. They will create panels at the factory and then they will ship it to the site. And panels will be erected panel by panel and like wall by wall, partition wall, floors, and walls and doors, everything. It's a panel. One wall is a one panel. They will connect all together at the side, and they'll create one box, like one room by another room, and after that another room they will create. Then they will attach other components like wall boards, insulations, and floors and everything. It will be not exactly same as the conventional type of structure. It is a little bit more advanced and a bit more prefabricated than that one. That is a paneling system. But when we come to the volumetric system, the panels, everything will be done in the factory only. And there will be one room, literally one room can be constructed within a box. And all the ceiling members, floor members, and wall members, even MEP works, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, everything can be done in the factory only. And they will leave small joints. If the one module width is around 10 feet, but the total requirement of the room is 20 feet. So 10 feet only it can be done in the factory, and those two modules can be connected in the site. They will leave a little bit gap in between the two modules connecting area in the factory. While connecting in the site, the small adjustments, small joints and all they will do in the site, little bit joints. And when it comes to the like module to module connection, how to access this area? Like we have one connection here. We have one connection here, and once the bottom module is done, when we are placing the top module on top of it, this bolts provision is there. But how to access that means we have to leave little bit gap in the floor, ceiling member or floor member. Generally, it will be left like 1 feet by 1 feet or something like that. They will leave a gap, and they will do the bolting everything. Once the bolt tightening is done, they will place they will fill the gap. So that is how they will access the corner. This can be done to the all four corners. And when it comes to the side by side, like we have here, side by side system, some people follow, some people don't follow. It is depending upon the span of the module. If we have a small like 20 feet module and all, we really don't require this kind of connections side by side. Even if we require also, we need to leave a little bit gap here in the ceiling, the floor cement board and all. Then that gap can be utilized to fix the bolt. Once the bolts is done, and the bolt looking like a head bolt here, but it's a countersunk bolt. It will be flushed with the gypsum board level. So once the bolting is done, they will place a little bit of gypsum board or some kind of joint material there to not to show the joint outside. So this can be achieved also. And this has been done practically also. This is around 4 years back, this project has been done. It's completely designed, detailed, and government approved everything. They have followed American codes only. This is a very large building actually, around I guess around 300 feet length and for 60 feet, something that kind of width, 60 feet. So more number of modules are there. So design, detailed, and everything, and fabrication also done in the factory, and connections also we have done design, like a site to be able to connect in the site. This kind of connections also designed in Idea Statica. So we can see even small welds if it is fail, pass or fail, using the finite element modeling and all. And we can apply all kind of loads. You can see here axial loads, movement loads, all kind of loads we can apply here, and verify the connection is able to withstand all the loads or not.
Okay.
Like this, yeah.
Hopefully that answers the question here, Vishu. I wanted to make sure that we're also covering some other components as we're talking structural. My idea was to bring Kopala to talk about a component, if you will, and certainly we can regroup certain team members. I can set up a follow-up call with certain team members that are interested in different aspects. But before I move into the other components, I know that Prahari, you've also done a lot of modular. Any thoughts, inputs of what is being discussed here, or this is more on the structural side and not in your area?
I think this is more on the structural side, but at the same time, how I see design is, with these aspects, like problems that we could potentially come across on site. So, potentially thinking of, what, sorry with the name, but
Kopala?
yeah, what Kapala is sharing right now, and what he mentioned something earlier, that this would be a component that would be handled on site. So I think things like that, like what are the things that are going to be handled on site, and how are we going to try to maintain on-site work as well. Try to like eliminate as much as we can. I think that's like the main idea. But yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that input. I know Jega has already been working on some connection. Jega, do you have any thoughts on, because you have a tremendous experience and background doing aviation, much more complex components. Do you mind chiming in on what you're seeing here, or do you feel different here, Jega?
No, yeah, I think we pretty much all on the same page. It's looks good, but we always gonna have an issue on site. That's regardless of what, no matter how perfectly built, it's depending on the flooring, where it goes, how we handle it. So there's always going to be an issue on the floor when we do the assembly. So what I'm looking at here, I'm like, I think the way I was planning to build everything in components, in parts, like vertical, vertical post and a horizontal post, and all the struts going to be like bolted on site due to shipping and everything. I think that's the best way to produce it in cheaper way, rather than having everything built in factory. Basically, it's going to be all bolted on site. And, of course, that I'm working on some of these connection. I'm going to make some prototyping. Once we all on the same page, I'm going to make some, joint connections to be done here. So you can talk to, show it to the architect and see how that works out.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So
that would be super helpful. Yeah, that would be super helpful once you come up with what you're already seeing here. And I agree with you. A lot of kit apart. I'm going to move to John. I know, John, you're already using Metal Lock. How are you seeing what is being discussed here from Metal Lock? I know they've already perfected all of this stuff. What are you seeing the difference of what the team is discussing as opposed to Metal Lock, John?
Well, we want, listen, as architects, we are agnostic to materials. We're agnostic to the structural connection product. We like the notion of off-the-shelf products, but a number of clients, have relationships with fabricators who have a sort of a generic mild steel approach. This looks totally feasible. Building for cold weather climates, we have a lot of issues, a lot of code requirements and so on. Let me ask a question. What is this? I don't know if I missed it, but what was the purpose of the building in Abu Dhabi? Was it a industrial or a warehouse of some nature?
It's a kind of office purpose actually.
Office. Oh, okay.
Office
right.
actually. This is for oil and gas field purpose.
Sure.
It's a temporary office. So built for temporary purpose only, but lifespan is around 10 years.
Indeed. So you use the same design for workforce housing?
Yeah. Housing, right? We can use similar concepts actually. We have done small projects also using same concept. So basically, we have to build as much as possible in the factory and then reduce the work that we are going to do in the site. Because in factory, it's a controlled environment. So we can access tools and things can be fixed very easily with within less time and less manpower and everything. So
And is it like a typical I-beam? What is that material, or is it a?
Actually, I have different designs. In one design, we have used. I will show. So actually, yeah, this is the I-beam. We have used IP section, the ceiling member, and the column members. Actually, I have to show the full screen. 1 second.
I just presume they're.
Yeah, yeah. This is the
That's an I-beam. Okay.
connection I want to see. Yeah, this is the I-beam connected on top of the tube members. Vertical members are tube members. The vertical member, the tube members will be placed at every corner or at every not
That's
every.
interesting. So you're using like an
Like
HSS.
Yeah.
That's what we work with.
Yes, actually.
Z Modular, of course, is a manufacturer of HSS, so of course we had to integrate it into all of the designs, and it was a fabulous product. Perhaps over-engineered for 6-story towers, but
Yes, sir.
great stuff. Okay, well, this looks totally, as long as it can get a stamp in the market, and it pencils, as we like to say, Sanjay. It's
Yeah,
cool.
that's a very critical point that you bring about, John. So my next question would be, sure, we're doing a lot of this R&D and things of that. Do you know of any connections? And this question is to the entire team here, that we can pick off the shelf. I think Zach kind of pointed out to that. While we're doing the R&D, we're trying to find optimal ways of building it. The bottom line is, you have to look at the cents in the dollar, right? We could be doing so much of voodoo magic in R&D, and then coming to the finish line twice as much the cost doesn't serve the purpose. It defeats the whole purpose, right? I would start with John. John, do you know of any connection companies that already sell this prefabricated that is already approved and we can plug and play right now?
Well, you mentioned it. So you've got you've got Metal Lock, which is being represented by Lanex out of Windsor, Ontario.
Yep.
And they're marketing that to modular fabricators. You've got companies like Faro who have their own proprietary system that I'm not familiar with, but will soon be, I hope. There's a large Japanese company coming to Southern Ontario called Seiki Sui, and they've got a non-proprietary mild steel approach too that we hope to learn about in the coming weeks. So no, I think right now Metal Lock and of course Z Modular's vector block, well, it's called the Z block system, are the only two that I can say are proprietary and owned by somebody and protected internationally with patents and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but no, there's not.
I heard through somebody who's working with Zach introduced us. She spoke about Contex or Connex doing this connections, basically prefabricated, and maybe Zega's also got a whole connection of all the prefabrication companies that can prefabricate it. Maybe we'll come up with some design, but I want to be also mindful, at least from this community spirit perspective, that we're not lost in the sauce, if you will. What are we getting at the end of the day? The target for me is really that $150, $160 per square foot. How the heck do I achieve that? I spend sleepless nights behind that, and Ken and myself are committed to it, whether we need to bring materials from China or India and collaborate that global supply chain. How do we knock down that pricing? I think the moment we reach that number, we'll all win in this journey. That's the focus here, John.
Yeah, that's agreed. And that number is the sweet spot, isn't it? So, we're working towards a sustainable $250 per square foot with anybody's structural system, anybody's connections.
I'm surprised the numbers of 250, and I'm lost in this whole world. Till date, when I call up Texas, all the builders in Texas, if you talk to them about $100 a square foot, they start laughing at you. They said, what are you doing like more than, and I'm talking states in Texas. And my mind goes, how the heck are they achieving below $100, those builders?
There's a lot of factors for sure.
The Texas mainly they are doing like prefab cold form steel panelized system instead of the modular system for a Texas. For a residential project, I'm not talking about the commercial projects or that. In Texas, they use FrameCAD of that kind of software, use the panelized work and do the construction. That's achievable in cold form steel, not achievable in structural steel, for sure.
Oh, I see. That's a good call out right there, right? I don't want us to get lost in the sauce, as I said, that, you know, keep the eye on the prize, that we can, when we're talking to an investor, we can say beyond benefit of doubt that you work with us, we know how to cut down the price, and that's where we're going to gain our position of equity share in that project, right? Otherwise, it's all artistic work, right? Basically. Would you agree on that, John, or what do you feel? I know we're passionate about modular here.
Indeed. Well, you know, my issue is that having worked for a singular client for a long period of time, we weren't really concentrating on broader issues about the market and what a viable project looks like. You know, and now we're trying to catch up. So I'm sorry, I can't give you a whole lot of insight. But we know that we've got some very competitive customers, and they need the lowest dollar per square foot as possible.
Absolutely.
Particularly those in the workforce housing industries in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And in the Emirates as well, where we're getting the same sort of conversations.
The sentiment that I'm gathering here on the call with all wonderful experts here on the call is leaning towards that whole panelization. And I was listening to Amazon. You know, when Amazon funds, you better be aware that they are technologically really savvy, or else they're not going to fund it. At least this is my knowledge, and you guys are also industry veterans. Plant Prefab, okay? Got to look up their interview. I can share it with the community. Plant Prefab was talking, and I was going to get interviewed by Dave Cooper in California. He talks a lot about this side, goes to all these factories. But I was seeing the interview with the Plant Prefab guy, and he swore the cost optimization is a hybrid of modular integrated construction, which means bathroom pods and kitchen pods. That's how they push the word called modular, but most of it is orchestration of panelization, prefab. They swear by it that's how they're being able to cut cost and not go one over the other. So it's that orchestration and combination of panels, mods, but very specific component, basically. Would you agree on that, John, or you feel otherwise? And maybe priority also, you guys have been
we've been talking to various customers about integrating pods into their mix, which would allow for a combination of panelized with perhaps mechanical rooms, washrooms, to come volumetric in a pod. Sure, those things work together, right? So,
and they cut costs. Are they addressing the cost?
Look, you gotta. What costs are you cutting? You gotta, when you're panelized, you got a lot more work on site, right? So, if you got, washrooms, bathrooms already, 90% done in a factory, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of labor, fitting out a bathroom, plumbing and tile and whatnot, right? So yeah, do that under controlled circumstances in a plant and drop it in and build around it. It's look, I come from a purely volumetric world, so we're just beginning to take a look at these scenarios.
Got it. Prahari, what is your thoughts? Sorry, go ahead, John. You wanted to
No,
say?
that's good.
That was me. I just wanted to say that my understanding is that how as making something as economical as possible, it depends on where you're talking about building it, because that's I heard this mentioned with respect to the choice of structural material, or no, sorry, it was with respect to trades. Like if you're building something in Nunavut, like way up north, it's gonna be hard to get a plumber in there. So it's like, instead of paying the plumber to build it on site, it's going to make more sense to build it in your factory. So that's going to be your most economical option. But if you're talking about a part of the world where there's a surplus of labor, and like where there's, maybe less stringent code about, regarding who needs to do something, then like that's going to be, hard to compete with. Your factory in Canada is not going to be able to compete with the, having the one of many, local people just come in and whip it up on site. Well, I had one other point I wanted to make, which was to Jaga's point a while ago, that things will happen on site, or things will always happen on site. And I guess that's the reality, of construction, that I think in manufacturing, this is one of the big challenges, like my understanding with, manufacturing and construction sort of meeting in this modular realm right now, is and one of the big challenges is like a cultural shift, with a lot of construction companies trying to get into this modular thing, which is like more sort of manufacturing oriented. But like in manufacturing, the engineering bill that I talked about is a common risk control measure, which is like something that Sanjay has talked about, starting small with one or a couple mods in a specific location. And that's that's the specific measure to make sure that things go if things don't go as planned, which they often don't go as planned, or there's unexpected things come up, like they can get addressed and resolved, in a small study, rather than like you've already ordered 100,000 parts because you're in a huge rush, and now you've got to figure out how to rework 100,000 parts. No, there's a separate phase to manage that, which is, I don't think that's typical in, maybe it is, and you guys have more experience implementing these projects. Yeah. So anyway,
Zach, great call out. I'm going to call Ken on the floor here, and Ken, you and I have been discussing about your 8-unit project, and through this whole exercise, as you've seen since the last time I spoke to you, I've been building this whole community and this team and bringing all the people together. In support of this community, my suggestion, and you can tell me if this is going to make sense to you, Ken, rather than us doing the entire 8 units that we're talking about, the thought process is Zach and myself are also going to a factory next week, and seeing how we can build only 2 mod. I want to be careful. I don't want to just lock ourselves as saying we're a mod. 2 mods for now for perfecting the art of DFMA, panelization, mods, everything from material supply chain. I do have quotes from China also that I will share offline with you. But the idea here is to get that 2 mods perfected here in Ontario. Are you okay with that journey where you're seeing all these professionals, you're seeing the think tank out here that we've kind of brought together that will support that? Because and I might speak on behalf of the community here, they're also eager to perfect that art of reducing costs and cutting costs. Are you okay of starting the journey with just only 2 mods, 2 boxes, 9 by 11, I would say, which would have a bedroom and a bathroom, kind of a pod mod? Are you okay of perfecting that here in Ontario, Ken?
Well, it certainly makes sense to perfect a prototype before a person looks at a larger a project. So certainly, I mean, it makes sense. Definitely.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. We're gonna chisel it. We're gonna get all the different material supply chain. Have this community watch it. Like as you had the vision that we want to do a live show, and the party has already begun. By the way, Ken, we're recording this call and we're gonna showcase so that other people also can benefit. How this ideation, how this birth really took place. You've got experts from modular side, panelization, steel guys. And we're going to be bringing more and more experts in this community. And, you're going to become famous, Ken, as being the founding member of prototyping this journey, basically. Right?
That sounds good. I'm super excited. That's all I can say. I feel like I'm amongst giants here in this room. But there's so much opportunity in a situation like this that it's hard not to be excited.
Absolutely. John, I know you're a volumetric guy. Is this sort of resonating with you? I do not want this call to be one call and done with, and that's why I've had Ken here on the call, and he's excited. He wants to actually execute on a project. So having Ken here on this call really adds so much more direction, if you will, from everyone's expertise perspective, that we can make this thing happen. We have a live project. We can kind of move forward. And as I said, I'm already in conversation with other deal flows that we're going to start getting in. But is this something, John, of exciting value you see that we can grow the community together here?
Look, we're all about, a step. Like, look at the modular panelized industries. Although they've been, these products have been around for decades, it's still a nascent industry in the current economy, and we don't want to see people fail, companies fail. It makes us all look second rate. So, absolutely, we'll support. But let me be clear: are we talking about a panelized approach for the prototypes?
So it's a very good question, right? I'm glad you called that out, because we're not talking panelized, we're not talking modular, we're not talking component. We're talking what will save money to Ken.
Mm-hmm.
How are we gonna squeeze the lemon to the last? But I have this saying in India. I spoke with Prahari, or maybe I gave this analogy to somebody. In India, when you go and take a sugarcane juice, right? They have this machine that they'll move that sugarcane to the nth degree, where only the last drop of juice is left, basically, right? So that analogy, whatever will save the investor the money. So wear a hat for a second, okay? If I were to tell you, John, you need to cough up $2 million, and rather than working with anybody else in the world, work with me, because I know this in and out. I'm going to save you X amount of dollars. You're going to make more money if you come with me. If that was the statement I were to make today, and let's move away from our service offering. I want you to achieve like the maximum savings. So CMHC will finance you. Any person will be willing to finance you. If that was the goal, would you ask the person like who's coughing up the 2 million, would it care to him whether you're doing modular or you're doing prefab, you're doing component? Would it really matter to him?
Well, each of them has its own costs, right? Each provides its own advantages. Watched with interest. Our friends at Assemble are continuing to install a panelized retrofit of a church in the city of Toronto, and the cold doesn't slow those guys down, right? And it hadn't occurred to me, So there's a great what I'm looking for. So yeah, it's a wonderful advantage that particular approach has over tall steel buildings that need some measure of hot work on the site, right? So you can't weld when it's -10. You got to heat up the metal, and anyway, it's a hassle. So that big project that I mentioned down in Tecumseh is now on hiatus until we can get some milder weather. So,
Interesting.
Yep.
But I want to speak to Sanjay's question, or just both your questions about what the approach is. Like, because my perspective, one of my clients I was working with, they hadn't considered the regulatory, building inspection side of things enough during the design of their product. That was becoming an issue in the later phases, getting occupancy of their building. So we have spoken with, or I brought in Sam from Crosscheck Consulting, who has a lot of experience with the with building code as well as with Intertech, and we talked about potentially different approaches, and I think one of the ideas that Sanjay had, or sort of built in with his Dark Knight model, and was an interesting hybrid with the prefabricated segments, like with some of the a one wall that has it's very densely packed with mechanical and plumbing stuff that can be, maybe it's built off-site, but it's still compatible with a conventional construction approach that is where things are inspected on site and they're open. So instead of going for so I don't know. So that's, as for the structure of, I think it matters a lot, where is it going to be built and everything. But I think what I've seen so far that seems viable for the reboot construction project, it could end up being like a sort of volumetric type of construction volumetric modular, or maybe it's panels, but some of those panels have mechanical in them, but they're not coming out of a CSA 8277 certified factory. They might be coming from wherever, but then they're going through the special inspection process, that a conventional home would be on site. So if I don't know.
Well, the beauty of volumetric coming out of a 8277 plant is that it doesn't need to be inspected. You're always going to get the local inspector looking at the site built work. There's always going to be a measure of that. And if the inspector wants to go into one of your suites, you're not going to say no, right? Because even though you've got a CSA sticker, from Intertech or whoever's doing the third party, right? But we avoid a huge amount of on-site inspection requirements, right?
Yeah, I think that optimization and that the cost of doing it in a certified factory, the factory certification wouldn't exist if it didn't offer benefit. And one of the benefits being it's expensive. To have it's complicated to schedule all these different inspections and all the tradespeople to do the work on site. And then so instead of having 6 months or 8 months on site, whatever, you've got a month or 14 weeks or something just to build a foundation and drop your modules in there. So I think that those calculations in a close look need to happen for the different approaches here that are on the table. So that's my 2 cents. I think it's a great question.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll jump into, I know we have last 15 minutes, but I'll jump into componentization a little bit more. Some of the candidates that I've identified, that I've also spoken to Prari and other folks here on the call. But I'm going to share those components with you guys, and then, open the floor again for next steps or any questions, suggestions that the team may have. So I'm going to share those components here with you that I've already identified here. My first component, or assembly, I would call it. We can interchange that. The idea here is this is like a bathroom and a sort of a MEP panelized panel, if you will, that goes on site, and literally you may not have to do any certification, because it will become, if we take the panelized approach, it can become a part of the on-site inspection, if you will. If we do not take the panelized approach, still trying to build this entire sub-assembly of MEP wall panel for a bathroom will be super helpful. It basically streamlines all the trades, brings everybody on one floor, and we're able to get this sub-assembly. Because I look at a house like almost like building a computer. If you can build the CPU parts, then everything else is framing. So these are those CPU parts, if you will, that I've sort of identified. Sorry, somebody had any inputs? I'd love.
Yeah, Sajid, we would call that a cassette, a mechanical cassette, and it slides in into a volumetric, or you can ship it to site, and treat it as just another panel. But yeah, you nailed it. That's a sub-assembly that would come in at the appropriate time as the the chassis moves down the track, right? But no, it's something that we were considering years ago, but it's got great value, this strategy.
So I'm glad you kind of gave a thumbs up on this thinking and ideation. Ken, you're hearing from some of the giant experts here. John has already mentioned, like, they've done 200 buildings, so you've got some serious expertise validating of the approach that we're going to take on your project, so you can feel comfortable and confident that we're headed in the right direction. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on other components as I've just shared here with you. Another thinking is a kitchen and a bathroom cassette, if you will. This is another kind of a sub-assembly where you've got on the left-hand side the shower, if you will, and on the right-hand side you have the kitchen cassette, if you will. They're intertwined, and will design the room in such a way where it's a plug and play, where all the trades are coming in and building this cassette wall that's almost integrating the kitchen and the bathroom shower out here. Any thoughts and inputs, John, Prahari? Would love to hear your professional thought process from a design perspective.
Well, my comments would be the same as on your mechanical cassette. I mean, this is the finicky kind of work that should be best done in a plant.
Yep. Prahari, your design perspective or point of view here, what is being showcased out here?
No, I think John kind of covered what I would have pitched it in here, but yeah, this is something I've seen this before, and you can't go wrong with this. But I think John would be a better person to pitch thoughts onto this.
Yeah, the reason I'm really honing in on my definition of assembly, sub-assembly, componentization. If you really rip it apart, if you've got these things really locked down, I could literally go behind somebody's garage and build my so-called components, if you will. Then the only thing happens is the integration of how they fit in together, and we do a proper planning up front. Then you don't need those big, large factories and millions of dollars and things of that. Us here on the call, wearing a creative mindset in expanding our beautiful mind, we can come to that missing middle. We can be a piece of the pie, I believe, if it's approached from this point of view out here. So I just showed, so it's not just assembly, it's getting down to that technicalities and nitty gritty. Then you have another cassette of an HVAC, of how the HVAC is already done. That's a huge component of the mechanical aspect of it, and it becomes a part of the cassette. So you literally isolate the different trades and translate them into like a cassette, and you got majority of the work done. Then whether you take the path of panelization, you take the path of modularization, on-site, off-site, it doesn't really, I mean, it does matter, but it takes away most of the burden of the complex stuff, the real trades that really cost you an arm and length, basically. That's on the HVAC side, and then here you have the washer dryer type of sub-assembly. And the last one, I think that on the windows, which you know, Prahari is also kind of working with Unity Wall, but these are the other, you know, different components, and being able to model this and have like an MEP detailed out with cut list and bill of materials, and being able to deliver this on whether it's offsite or on-site is the ideation that we're leaning towards, Ken, here. Ken, any thoughts on what you're seeing here? I know you've also done a lot of, you know, not structural, but you said that in your past life you have done some steel side of it. This sort of an approach, is this giving you confidence and comfort of the, and again, I want to dumb it down, our prototype to 2 mods, applying all these different principles to building those 2 9x11, whether we end up doing it at offsite, partially offsite, on-site, doesn't matter. But is this giving you some comfort or a thought process, Ken, here?
Can you hear me okay, Sanjay?
Yep. You can hear you.
Okay, because I've had to go mobile. I've got an 11:30 appointment. Well, it really isn't reinventing the wheel as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's companies that do modular aspects like Atco, William Scotsman, things like that. But what I'm seeing is more of a perfection of that process and gearing it towards a residential application, which I'm looking at. So from my perspective, super excited, like I mentioned before, and I think the possibilities are absolutely endless.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ken. And that's a real positive validation here. And we're almost 5 minutes left now for top of the hour. I want to conclude this meeting, and certainly you guys can email me back. This was our first sort of community approach gathering. If you guys have any ideas or you want to bring other stakeholders into this meeting, I'm thinking once a month, this sort of a gathering that folks come, we share our ideas, and I'll get together with Ken. And, you know, like I said, we're going to a factory also, finding out some warehouse. So if anybody knows of any small, you know, how Steve Jobs started his business out of a basement, if you will, or a garage. If anybody knows a garage where we can put these assemblies together here locally, would love that referral. We're looking for that next steps to move on, and we'll bring Ken up to speed and see how we can build these 2 mods bearing these principles and have the community conversation once a month. I'm going to do a very quick round. Any suggestions as next steps, what you'd like to see happen? John, thoughts, process on this?
Yeah, as you know, speaking from the design and architectural perspective, I need to better understand, you know, what the ask is, you know, of our particular skill set. So maybe you and I can have a
Absolutely. Zach, and this question is more for more as a community approach. I don't have any defined role as such for everybody here on the call. As we build these 2 mods, I think your roles will start getting defined, what your where you feel comfortable, where you're contributing, and things of that. It's a really more of a community conversation as far as professional engagement. As we start building these 2 mods, we'll have to discover that. But my question is more, do we bring more topics? Do we put more light on some specific topics on panelization, on steel detailing, depending on your expertise, so that other folks come in and contribute to this journey that we're on missing middle and maybe someday becoming a private equity firm here. Zach, any thoughts here?
Any thoughts? A real thought on my head right now is like maybe we can, as part of this community thing, we can share like a folder of, or have a common place to share like articles or something, because I think that there's some background reading. I think that is stuff that would be really helpful, I guess. But I just like the regulatory side. I think it's really critical. I think like what John said, I guess there's a lot of we have a lot of technical skills represented in the meeting here. Like we could do this, but then there's some structural decisions for the project. I mean, not structural technically, but like architectural, like what approach you want to do, what do you accomplish, or maybe like defining your objectives. I mean, or like product requirements, like from the ISO 1345 world, like having your goals defined would be really helpful, I think, towards
Yeah, that's great input. Sumit, any input that you feel to move forward the community, keep it more engaging, other people can learn and grow from each other?
I think the overall meeting went well, but I have huge suggestion. Maybe we create the group, like the structural, architecture, or collaborative groups, which can collaborate into the design. Some of them contribute to the economics of this, like what will require and what codes needs to meet in mechanical, in building permit wise, and those kind of stuff. So like we create some grouping community inside this community, inside this umbrella of this main community, just so we can go ahead with the preparation of our prototype or the structure.
Absolutely. Great suggestion. Kopala?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's great to connect with everybody here. Actually, everyone is having lots of experience, in their own field and all. It's nice to share the ideas every time, often like once in a month or twice, so that others can understand what they don't know about the ideas and all. It's really great to share the ideas. Also, when we have any community, that means helping each other. So the sharing ideas and sharing knowledge and tips and all, it also helps each other to grab the opportunities and develop themselves. So it is a great idea to have the meetings like this and share knowledge and all.
Absolutely. We'll have it. I'm thinking planning once a month, and we'll see where discussion goes. Vishu?
Hi, Sanjay. I think it's a great idea to have. I totally agree with Sumit as well. I agree with Sumit that he mentioned that we should have a grouping system that we can concentrate on the one component which like everybody is doing on their end within this team. Also to have a flow chart like how our two modules are going to be scheduled, like the flow will be, and so that everybody knows like here we are proceeding. And it's a great platform so far, and very great conversation today.
Yeah. This is great suggestion. At the closing chapter, I'll share what I'm about to do as next. But thank you so much, Vishu. Prahari?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with Sumit as well. I think right now it's more like I have I'm sure it's all of us. We have a lot of ideas and thoughts and all sorts of such. But how much to give out that information on calls. I think like a group like that would be a great, useful resource.
Absolutely. Ken, to continue this community, your thoughts. I know you're going to be a a foundational pillar because we're building those 8 units for you. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if I can add anything more than what I've said before. Certainly a lot of talent in the room, bringing a lot of technical knowledge together. From an end user's perspective, it's just a really interesting project, and I'm looking forward to moving things forward and getting everyone's input, and then perhaps being able to scale this more for just one project, but for many, many projects. Our housing situation in Canada is certainly lacking, and you know, the government's not going to solve it. It's going to be a group of people like this that's going to make a difference.
Absolutely. Can you mention not only your project, you got another 8 unit project that somebody's asking you to help them out with, right?
There's lots of opportunity here. Yes, one of my contractors also is looking at building a multifamily, and then I've just been approached by someone else that's got a lot by Commonwealth Stadium and literally a block away from a light rail transit station. That they're looking at building something. So I mean, Alberta's ripe for investment, and things are just looking brighter.
Great. That's great motivation for the community and the group. Jega, any thoughts here? I think you're the last guy here, and then I'll close with what I'm about to do next, and then we'll reconvene next month. Jega?
I think it's all sound good and looking good. And then once we narrow down what everybody going to be doing, I think that's probably the final step, I guess. And the meantime, I'm working on it on my part the best that I can do, because I'm still directly working with the manufacturing. So I'm just gonna try different things, and I'm trying to 3D print some of the connections and stuff. And I think everything else we can work around, because I've been working on manufacturing for so many years, so I have seen all different type of problems and how we solve it. So I'm pretty sure this is something that we can put together very easily.
That's great confidence that the community also gets from. I know that Sumit, you also had a partner. I've not called his name out. Is he the K Patel?
Yeah, he's not able to join today. I actually have
Okay.
two
No
partners.
problem.
One is getting married, so he's on vacation, and other is Kishan. But I will push him definitely to join next meeting. And,
okay. Okay, sounds good. So just as a wrap up, guys, I'm planning to launch a platform, a social networking platform on school. I think there's a great opportunity. I don't know how much you guys have, and Ken will know this. We met at a meeting. I'm thinking of building a master class community where all of the experts might have an opportunity where we invite other folks that want to learn of missing middle. At some point, we'll start having that community, folks like you that are at this foundational level, be able to coach and also provide your services to other folks that are joining in, builders and things of that. So I'm going to launch a school community, a master class on missing middle, prefab, modular, offsite construction. I haven't come across, unless you guys already know of, some large community that's doing a lot of this coaching and teaching. I'm leaning more towards that coaching membership and teaching and things of that. We'll keep two frameworks. One is absolutely free, where we grow the community, and then people join as a subscription to get access to all the expertise and the knowledge that we have, where you can then position your service offering to other builders, other folks as we progress further. So stay tuned for that link. I'm going to invite many more people on that, and also this sort of a once a month gathering here, community basically. So that's all, folks, for today. Thank you for coming on this call. Really excited about the next steps.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Nice to talk with
Thank you.
everyone.
Nice to
Thanks.
see you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.